Kansas Bill passed to start discussions with the Chiefs and Royals. There was a mishap on the Chiefs' Super Bowl 58 rings. Chiefs D lineman was finally released after multiple arrests. Hollywood has one foot out the door. All this next on Gridiron Gambit.
Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to this Red Kingdom Media production, bringing you raw, authentic Chiefs coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on your team. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Let's work. Hey.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Gridiron Gambit. I'm your host, Dale Fowler, along with my partners, Clinton and Lonnie. How y'all doing tonight, fellas?
Doing good, man.
Man, we definitely have a lot to talk about, and we got some interesting topics. And a lot of things has happened in Chiefs Kingdom so far, as you know, the week went by, and we got a lot to discuss. So let's go ahead and jump into our first topic of the day. All right, Kansas Star Bonds. The state of Kansas officially passed a bill along with Governor Kelly's signature to start the talks with the Chiefs and Royals. Have the table turned when it comes to the Kansas City sports teams moving out of Missouri? I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor to whoever want to go first.
Yeah, so I don't think the tables have turned yet. I think this is just a sign of things that may be to come for the Chiefs and the Royals moving forward. We know that the Kansas wants to make a push to try and bring those teams over from Missouri, especially if Missouri can't find a way to keep them over here. So I think this is just one domino and one of many yet to fall in this game that we're coming to play, this political game that we're about to start playing with both of these teams. And as far as financing for new facilities and new team things to try and just kind of enhance the team, enhance the marketability of the team as far as outside things coming in, as far as like World Cups, hosting Super Bowls, hosting All-Star games. So being able to get that funding, and this is totally going to be political, being that bills and stuff are passing in the favor of this on that Kansas side. I think it's just one domino yet to fall in this political game that we're about to have to play. But I don't think it's a big deal yet. But I think we'll see how it plays coming in here in the near future. Give you a couple more years, 2 or 3 more years, and see if they really start getting some stuff together. But I don't think it's that big of a deal yet.
Now, I don't think the turns has officially turned yet, like the tables have turned officially yet. But I do think this could be a big worry for the Missouri side of it when it comes to the Chiefs and Royals. The reason why, you can see the enthusiasm and the passion that the Kansas State has on trying to lure those teams over. And we already seen with the Kansas City Royals, they seem like they are already done with Kansas City, Missouri. It feels like they are ready to update their stadium. They want to do whatever they can to actually get that approved in the meantime and get that done as soon as possible. If Kansas is willing to do that, I think they're willing to make that move. And I do think they feel it's a good compromise because they're not leaving, going into like another state that's just miles away. This is across the border. So I see them really wanting to be like, hey, if they can get this done, they will. Now with the Kansas City Chiefs, they do have a lot of history when it comes to it. And I know Lamar Hunt brought this team over as well when he left Texas and he wanted to leave a foundation here in Kansas City and he wanted to move here and leave this team here. Now it's a new regime. His son has taken over, and his son has done what he wants with the stadium as well too. He hasn't made any big significant changes or try to break the, tear it down and actually rebuild and go from there and name it something else. All he has been doing is keeping renovations. So he has been trying to keep the legacy of Arrowhead Stadium alive. Now in this new era with what we have going on, especially with social media and just general projects that is just looking fantastic, and they want to be a part of that, and now they have championships behind it. It could be an idea that clicked in their head where it's like, yeah, I think it's time for a new update. We're kind of doing different from what we have done in the past. We're a winning organization, and we should show that with the facilities that we provide to our players, and also for the fans when they come out there as well too. So I do think that this is a big worry for Missouri. I know the mayor and then other officials in Missouri as well, they're not really worried about it. They feel like they can do what they need to do to keep the Chiefs and the Royals over here. But when you start letting other parties be a part of that conversation and try to have an effect of luring them over, it's like, okay, they're really trying to sell to actually get them here in Kansas. And they're willing to put a lot of money into the project to make a big fan experience and also experience for the team in general, to where, it's going to be a big attraction and something when people do come over to Missouri, Kansas, they can go visit as well too. So we gotta just, you know, I wouldn't ignore it, but I would acknowledge that with them making this move, what they're doing is they're showing the Chiefs and Royals, hey, we're going to do whatever we can to bring you over to the Kansas side of it.
And unlike the St. Louis Rams situation, the owner itself is not the reason why the team might leave, though ultimately he makes the decision whether or not they officially will leave. But it's clear, and from both teams' perspectives, that they're not playing where they're currently playing at right now and don't intend to anytime soon, despite the stuff that we've heard from the Chiefs directly saying that they would be willing to continue to renovate Arrowhead Stadium. But it's very clear that they would just prefer to be able to start over, because it seems like most NFL stadiums are nowadays. And, it's the nature of the beast. You have to, just go along with it. From the Royals' perspective, it's, funny because their whole thing was wanting to be downtown. And, Overland Park or Shawnee, Kansas is not necessarily downtown Kansas City, but, it is the most industrial part of this area now. It's something that, has to be admitted to. Most everything going on technology wise tends to try to fall on the Kansas side of the state line. And it seems like that's where most of the tax money is going as well. So, if you're an NFL owner, you're going to follow the money. And, at this point, Kansas is waving a check in front of Clark Hunt's face saying, hey, if you just agree to be on our side, you can have whatever you want. But, it's a tricky subject matter because you don't want to offend or hurt anybody's feelings on either side of the state line. So it's all love to either state. And, I think all of us have had the perspective of it's not, the border war coming back or something that we need to be extremely upset by. I mean, Lonnie and I had an opportunity to try to be a part of the yes or no vote in April. But if we're honest, if you look at the numbers, our votes wouldn't have helped one way or the other because it was pretty set on. There was a bitter taste in the mouths of the Jackson County residents, despite the winning from the Chiefs and the efforts that they were playing and, the accolades that they were achieving. So, politics, we've had all the conversations on our shows about the various, do's and do's nots about what to talk about in society and to combine with your sports. And people just have that bitter taste if you start to do that. So, it sucks that it's coming to that point, and this is starting to be like a big issue. But from my perspective, I'm not, making myself extremely emotional or up in arms about, losing my football team. I'm not the owner. Clark Hunt's the owner. He can make any decision he wants for the team. And that's just something that, as a fan, you have to live with, regardless of where you live in Kansas, Missouri, or anywhere else, and you still follow the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say I beg to differ. It's bringing back the border war. Just like I was talking about before we came on air. I go to a bar. My barber's in Kansas City, Kansas, located in Kansas City. Located in Kansas. He's from Kansas City, Kansas. He's talking about how dejected people are hearing that the Chiefs are moving to Kansas. It's definitely a thing for Kansas City, Kansas, particularly, and Missouri not to like each other. So for them to be thinking about moving to a part of Kansas City, Kansas, which is over there by the Speedway and the Legends, It's kind of bitter, leaving a sour taste in Kansas City, Missouri residents' mouth. And you can kind of just see kind of how Dale was moving in that when he was talking about it's playing a factor, and we should be worried about it. People from Missouri and real Missourians just really don't they not. I'm not gonna say they don't like it, but we don't want it to happen. But we'll live if it does happen because they've always been our little brothers.
Coming back seriously, after what you just said, yeah, after the conversation that we had, Lonnie, it was hilarious, because that's how we really look at them, just little brothers. And it's going to be interesting, and I'm going to definitely love it when we get back to it as well too. We'll see how it goes, because it's going to be interesting in that when the 7 years come up, and then we see what decision that they actually make. So we'll see how that goes. And hey, hopefully the Chiefs and those particular states can figure it out. Hopefully they can stay in Missouri like they're supposed to, and we can keep it going. But if it doesn't, we have Kansas that's right on the side, and I'm sure a lot of people will get over it after a while. But hey, as long as they are in the vicinity, I think a lot of people will be satisfied. So, but let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. Now, ring unveil and mishap. The Kansas City Chiefs players received their Super Bowl 58 rings created by Jostens. There was a mistake printed around the Dolphins seating in the playoffs. It said number 7 when it should have said number 6. How dramatic of a mistake was this? How could it be overlooked? And should this detail bother people as it has? I'm going to go ahead and open back up the floor for you all to respond to that.
I mean, it's kind of embarrassing because the everything that comes out about it is look how expensive the rings are and how extravagant it is, and they have all these extra details about the colors and the jewels and the numbers and stuff like that, and then you don't double triple check some of that information to ensure that the rings don't have mistakes that people will be able to notice right away. If a fan at home can see there's something wrong with it, then you missed out. You did not do your quality assurance very well, and you did not confirm the molds or the stencils or whatever the heck you used to make the writing on the inside of that ring. But it's funny. You could debate, does it lower the value because it almost seems like a knockoff, or does it raise the value like because it's a one of one and messed up? And then you also have to ask the question, will the Chiefs actually make copies and make actual real correct rings, or is Clark just like, nah bro, I paid the money, I did that's it, this is it?
Clark, I hope he does fix them. I'm gonna be honest. I have a personal vendetta with Jostens because I'm senior 15. They did senior 14, senior 13, senior 12, all their senior hoodies, right? And then they come to us and they want to actually try something out, and it was horrible. And then you're hired by a professional football team to just get the ring correct, and you couldn't take your time just to look at the detail to make sure that the Miami Dolphins were the number 6 seed. Travis Kelce might not care, but as a fan, and just for my button messed up and everything as well too, I fixed that. Hold on real quick because I'm that mad. That's just not right. That's just not right. I'm not okay with it. I'm not gonna stay long on it, but Johnson, y'all need to get it together, or y'all not gonna be doing this again, because the Chiefs, they're definitely probably gonna be getting 3 or 4 more rings, and we're not gonna ask you to do anything else anymore. And if my letter actually matters when I send it to Clark Hunt to not go through y'all again, then y'all just better pray. Y'all just better pray, because if I get up there, I'm gonna make sure y'all never do it again. Senior 15 hoodies suck, and y'all messed up on the Super Bowl ring. I don't like it.
Yeah, so the senior hoodies is one thing. I think senior outfits, senior hoodies, and senior rings, anything from Jostens, just was not of the best quality. Just as of late, he had senior 15, I was senior 16. So they tried to make a little bit of a comeback with that, and it was still kind of booty. So it decent is to say the least, but I'm just got a question for Jostens. Like, who is in quality control? Who is doing like the triple check? Like, how many hands did this touch before it got to the Super Bowl champions? Like, this is super embarrassing. As an organization, a multi-billion-dollar company, you should be embarrassed. Like, just honestly, if this didn't touch 30 people's hands before it got to the Super Bowl champions, this is disgusting. How socially unaware do you have to be to not know the seeding of the football teams of the team that you're working with? That won the Super Bowl, so the team that actually made the playoff run, the games that they shown on TV this whole entire time. You just kind of got to be like so super duper socially unaware, and not here, just a vegetable basically. So I don't know who they have working for them in their quality control, but Jostens definitely needs to step it up, and we probably shouldn't be going through them anymore. Let's pick Hellsberg. K, we got a couple of different jewelers we can go through. We can even go to Icebox. I know that's not local Kansas City. We can go. We got a couple of nice jewelers we can go to. Eliante. We got a couple different jewelers we can pick other than Jostens. But you take what you get. And yes, quality control needs to be improved at Jostens, to say the least.
The Chiefs are working with Hallmark to make a movie. I wonder if Hallmark can get in the ring making business, because I'm sure they could come up with something better. Yeah, it's just crazy that type of stuff just slipped through, especially being a local company, like being in the area. You would have thought like at least one person who worked there would have like noticed any of those mistakes, or maybe all the blame actually ends up frankly pointed back at the Chiefs, because if that was their design, um, then Jostens made it exactly as it was designed, with everything, all the details. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen the video the Chiefs put out where they were talking about all the details about the ring, but in the video they did not mention the writing inside the ring, if I'm not mistaken. They did not explicitly make the statement that they were the 7 seed in the playoffs. So as a fan, we look at the ring and we know exactly why that number is there, considering the other numbers in the sequence to go with the Bills, Ravens, and then Niners. But that one sticks out because it clearly does not match up. But the Chiefs never explicitly made mention to it. So that's going to be the $1 million question, and maybe even a couple million, or maybe, I don't know the value of it all put together. But like, who does the fault lie on? Is it someone from the Chiefs who didn't confirm the correct details, or was it Jostens throughout the entire process getting something wrong, or just putting together something without having all the information?
Honestly, I feel like Johnston's must have like, I think that they had to collab with the Chiefs on it. They probably want a certain design and want certain things in it. I mean, you were able to put Tom and Jerry in the ring, right? You was able to make that look good. So in that point, I mean, they should have, they must have played some type of part in it. Now, for the players, I'm gonna go back. I know I went on a rant, but truthfully, all the players, they probably don't care about it as much, just because they're just happy to just just to have a NFL Super Bowl ring on their finger, in their possession, and that's something that's something that they're gonna have for the rest of their life. But when you get into the nitty gritty of it, and being those creators of that ring, you got to be mindful. You got to make sure every detail is correct, especially when you're giving these rings out to $1 billion organization that's actually, putting a lot of money within the city that you're living in as well too, because they are a local company that we have, and we went through them for them to actually do it. And I'm sure that they're probably scattered out across the United States as well too. But at the same time, we know something from even from our high school memories that we went through them for certain things. So you would think that, hey, they'd be right. They'd be on top of it. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs still got their Super Bowl rings. They're able to celebrate. Justin Reed already mentioned that this was a night for them to celebrate, and now they're focused on the 2024 season. And hopefully next time, if we are able to win the Super Bowl next season, and they do get another chance, this doesn't happen again. So before we go ahead and move into our next topic, we want to make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms at Red Kingdom Media. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel as well too. We're on the road to 200 subscribers, so please go ahead and support and like that. Also make sure to check out our Substack as well too. We do a daily newsletter Monday through Friday, and we have that coming out to you. And then also we have other paid articles that's available for anyone who wants to become a paid subscriber, where you can check out that content as well. And once the NFL season comes up and we get towards that start of that, we're going to also have some other paid content on there for you as well too, for you to go ahead and check out. That way it's worth your while. So let's go ahead and go into our next topic. So squash bugs released. So Isaiah Bugs was officially released from the Chiefs on Monday. Last episode, the crew was unanimous about Bugs not making the 53-man roster if he was to even stay on and go into the preseason. But it looks like at this point, it looks like he's not even going to have a chance. So, what are your thoughts now that he is released?
So my thoughts are the same that they were when it happened, when all the events were transpiring with Mr. Bugs. He would no longer be on the roster. So I mean, they just came to fruition. I think all of my thoughts, all our thoughts on that previous show, they just really ended up showing. He was released. I don't think it's gonna go any further than this. It was gonna be. They didn't want any distractions. It wasn't somebody that was needed around. He was definitely a dead piece on the roster. So acting in that manner is not keeping you around. And I don't, like I said, I hate sitting and having to harp on these type of things with the Chiefs. They've been in the media a lot lately about not good things. So that for one player to continue to keep making noise, I can only imagine what that room was like after the most recent situation transpired with Andy Reid. The air in there was probably so thick you could cut it with a knife. So it's kind of like unspoken. The next move that's made, if it's not a good one, or if something comes back in the media, and if you're a player that can be made an example out of, you're gonna be made an example out of. And I think I think Mr. Bugs is just an example of that. He was somebody that wasn't needed around, and may continue to make mistakes. He had a bad track record, made one more mistake, and you see what happened. So I think that was just a message being sent to all the guys that they're not playing anymore. Where we don't want to continue to be in the media for bad stuff. We're Super Bowl champions. The spotlight is already on us. We can't continue to have stuff like this happen. So, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I think this is just going to be yet one of many to come if we continue to see bad things in the spotlight from any player.
When you look at the entire situation, it's just saddening. And you would think a player in his position that he will make sure that he was just keeping a straight foot forward, not being in any trouble, and it just continued to pile up. And then now with the most recent arrest as well too, they have rejected his bond, and he is sitting in jail right now. So it looks like, depending on the situation, maybe if he has another hearing to probably get one, maybe he will be released after that. But at this time, dealing with that, that's a bad look. Just on that player as just a human, and then also with the organization having to carry that as well too. I think they came about this decision knowing that, okay, seeing how it was going to be, like, I think eventually they were just going to go ahead and release him anyway. But I think the icing on top of the cake was like, hey, he's not even out of jail as well too, and it looks like they're not even going to let him out of jail. Now, I don't believe in just keep on pushing down on a person that has a lot of negative things that's going on in their life, and they have to figure it out, right? I do think that eventually you can redeem yourself and actually become better, and you have a better life going forward and not making those same mistakes. But when you're playing for these type of teams, working for these type of companies that's giving you a lot of money just off a basic year, or even being on practice squad or anything like that, you're becoming a different type of citizen, and you're getting in a different status, and you got to keep up with that status. You can't continue to make knucklehead mistakes and then think you're going to keep on getting ahead of the opportunity, because then you're going to have other people feeling like, hey, like that's not fair. It's crazy how these people who make this amount of money, they can do whatever they want, and then hey, they can come back and then redeem themselves from it, and then they can continue going on. In that case, for a lot of people, it does happen for some celebs and some athletes as well too. But when you're someone who's not even on that statue yet, like you can't go out and just ruin this type, ruin that type of money for you, ruin that type of wealth that you can have for your family as well. I do think the Kansas City Chiefs made the right decision. It's just a lot going on with the organization as of now. We having our own legal troubles with the player that's actually was impactful throughout the season for us and going into the playoffs in the Super Bowl. And we gotta help out ourselves. We can't keep on taking these blows, especially after having back-to-back Super Bowl winning seasons, and then going on one where we're trying to make history. We have all these problems that's coming in that's really derailing us from actually go, completing that goal. So they did the right thing. They had to do what they had to do. Hopefully Isaiah Buggs is able to come back from this and eventually probably get on an NFL team and see what he can do from there. But they did try. I would say the Chiefs did try. He had 2 arrests. They was handling it and was going to work with the first one, and hopefully he was able to get through it, and then he be able to participate through the season and probably even fight for the 53-man roster spot. But now you put yourself in a position where you can't even do that. So I think they was like, let's go ahead and cut ties and let's move forward. And hopefully our players see that we're not going to be tolerating this going forward, and that everyone needs to get on track, because the 2024 season is here and training camp is on the way.
So I definitely agree with that, Dale. And to kind of inflate that idea a little bit more, it's obvious that in the NFL and in any of the sporting leagues, honestly, the better player you are and the more achievements you've made and achieved and all that, the more leniency you're given in terms of like punishments and how people respond to what you've done, or start to identify you by the mistakes that you made and all that. So if you're Rashee Rice, you get a lot more leniency in terms of your mistakes because you're not in the league as long and that you're a star for the Chiefs. If you're a player like Isaiah Buggs, who has been around the NFL a bit and has been in the league for past a rookie contract, you don't get the same kind of leniency or treatment. If he was contributing more on the field, would there be a chance the Chiefs might keep him? I don't know. You have to ask Andy Reid that. But it was clear after the almost a week of being in the spotlight, tied to him being on the roster, and the Chiefs getting tied in with every story related to him. They finally this week decided to release him and get him off the team and to stop having those, showing up in your news feeds and articles saying, Chiefs player Isaiah Buggs. Like, just cut ties with him and let him deal with his legal issues and not have that connection with the Chiefs anymore.
I think we all were on really the same page with this. It's unfortunate that he had to deal with this situation. Hopefully, he's able to figure it out. But hey, whatever happens, as long as he's able to get out of jail and then maybe go through some sort of counseling or go through something where he can get back on the good graces of NFL teams, maybe he can have that chance. So, unfortunate situation. Always hate to talk about these particular topics, but with the season coming up, it's time for them to start shifting focus and getting ready for trying to go on another run and hopefully complete the three-peat and be the first team in NFL history to do that. So let's go ahead and move on to our last topic and Hollywood leaving KC. A recent article around Chiefs receiver Hollywood Brown having one foot out the door. Brown is seeking a long-term contract, something similar than what Juju Smith-Schuster did when he came here for that 1 year. Had some pretty good statistics and ended up winning the Super Bowl, and then he was able to get a long-term deal with the New England Patriots. Hollywood Brown is hoping to do the same. Now, we do know that the Chiefs would like to keep him long-term if he lives up to the expectations and what we expect him to do for this Kansas City offense. But it's rumors that, he's already looking towards the future, hoping to get that long-term deal because, hey, maybe his head is on straight and saying that Patrick Mahomes can help me do that. I saw what Juju Smith-Schuster was able to do. I'm sure I can do the same thing. So, for both of you, do you foresee any issues around Hollywood Brown, or could KC actually resign him?
Yeah, so I don't see any four issues yet with Hollywood Brown. Now, if he comes in here and plays absolutely out of his mind, which is what we need him to do, if we're going to three-peat, then I see problems coming in the near future with them re-signing him. Just because that's the type of deal that's why he's taken that 1 year deal and came on that 1 year prove it deal to KC. He's banking on himself having a crazy season, and going and getting a long-term deal, just like a Juju Smith-Schuster did. So, I don't foresee it being an issue yet, but I think it is an issue that can arise just depending on how Hollywood is used in this offense and what he's able to showcase just as far as his skill set. Because we will be seeing him in a different offense that we haven't seen him in before. That's it, where he's able to be lined up outside, inside, where he's able to show just a ton of different talents that he may have in his arsenal that he wasn't able to show in different offenses like Baltimore and the Cardinals. So I don't think it'll be a problem yet, but I know that's what he came here for, is to get a long-term contract on the other side of this deal. And depending on how he plays, issue could arise in the future, just depending on if he plays absolutely out of his mind like we need him to.
I don't know if we can, think about the future and see if he's already leaving at this point, because we have to see him in action. But all accounts seem on the good side. You know what I mean? Everything that we've seen from Hollywood Brown has been his excitement to be here, and we've seen the contract, and it's not that much. So I don't know if he's humbled himself at least for this one season, like we kind of saw Juju Smith-Schuster do, or if he's content to take whatever number the Chiefs are willing to give to him because he likes the pairing. He's already been with some franchise quarterbacks, and he's flashed, but he's never made quite the impact that he was set out to do. So is that the fault of Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson, or is that a testament to Hollywood Brown's abilities? Or, well, this season is going to be a good indicator on how well he's going to perform and what his outlook in the future is. Because you're right, as far as I'm aware, he hasn't been able to get a second contract. And not only that, he didn't get to finish his rookie contract with the team that drafted him. So that's kind of a statement in and of itself. If the team that took a chance on you sees more value in trading you away, especially if you're a first round pick and you're, the number one target. So I don't want to say that he's already leaving, but if that's his mentality, then he most definitely is, because he's going to make more money outside of the Chiefs than he would with the Chiefs. Honestly, regardless of how well he plays, if he's going off of his name and past stats alone, he should be able to get a contract worth more than what the Chiefs are willing to offer him this year. So, in hindsight, we would have said we'd love to have Juju back for several seasons, but then we saw the health, and now that wouldn't have been a good idea. So we just need to see Hollywood Brown be healthy playing for the Chiefs to make that ultimate decision of whether or not he should be here long term. I don't think anybody is rooting against it by any means, but I don't think we can start thinking and forecasting whether or not he's out or is here long term, because a lot of these players don't even think that way. Obviously they talk like they want long term, but their focus is on the singular season that's ahead of them. They're not looking at what their season is going to be like 5 years from now. So depending on whether or not the Chiefs achieve the ultimate dream that they're trying to achieve this year, that may definitely sway Hollywood Brown into staying. If he's like, hey, this is the place to be, we're breaking records and hoisting up Lombardi trophies, where else would I want to be? And I'm getting, if not the first target, the second or third, just behind Travis Kelce. So you were going to be a great target for Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid loves Hollywood Brown type wide receivers who are small and shifty, but are also very quick and have really good hands. So, he has a chance to be the total package here and kind of be that ultimate target that the Chiefs have been looking for, that I'm sure that they were hoping to pair with Tyreek Hill, but at this point are starting to try and supplant the impact that Tyreek Hill did make.
Now, Clinton, you did make a good point. That is true with players, especially in the skill positions and people who are not in the quarterback position. They're not trying to really promise that they're going to be there for a long time, but they're not going to say and just get fans upset that, hey, yeah, I'm just trying to do my time, get my contract, and then leave. That's definitely something that they're just not going to put out there. But they're not just going to say like, hey, I'm here to stay forever. Like, no, they're going to make sure they want to get their money as well too and be fairly compensated. So going into that, with Hollywood Brown, I don't foresee any problems in the future at all. I feel like even with the Juju Smith Schuster situation, excuse me, that it wasn't really any problems with that. They didn't ask some questions on TMZ if he was going to come back to the Kansas City Chiefs. He never shaded us and said anything wrong. He gave big ups to Patrick Mahomes still, but at the end of the day, the New England Patriots gave him the best contract. He knew he probably wasn't going to get that for us, and he took the best for him. But hey, guess what? We got a Super Bowl with him. He got something out of it, and he was able to get his payday at the end. And I think the Chiefs had that same conversation with Hollywood Brown as well too. And I feel like Juju was a selling point in getting him over here. Hey, if you're able to do this, if you're able to stay healthy throughout the entire season, if you're able to get 1,000-yard plus season as well too, hey, we might give you that contract that you're looking for. This is why I'm not worried. You're not going to get a Justin Jefferson contract. You're not going to get a Jamar Chase contract. I don't even think you're going to even get a CD Lamb or anyone in that top 5 type of contract as well too. So whatever they're giving him, it's probably a good amount of money that he can have for the type of receiver that he is, the tier that he actually belongs in. He's not in one of those higher tiers when it comes to wide receivers. He's probably in the middle, somewhere in between. Someone, depending on what team he's a part of, the system that he's a part of, he can probably do a lot of great things. And honestly, you put yourself, you understood that going to the Kansas City Chiefs, this is they're a team who would like to go deep, and they need a player who can do that. And on that skill set, Hollywood can be an elite player, But at the same time, I think they already know, like, either way it goes, we don't want to give you that type of money anyway. So if you're able to even meet us in the middle and you want to do this for a long time, we got you. We ready to go. Just have a successful season and be healthy throughout the entire season. But yeah, don't see any problems at all. I don't even think this is going to be any problems going into the season as well, too. It looks like both him and Patrick Mahomes are excited to play with one another, and I think he feels like he's going to have one of his best seasons that he had. I mean, under Lamar Jackson, when he was healthy and played for the entire year, he was able to get 1,008 yards. He was able to do that. So, and if I'm, and that was in his third year as well too. So at the same time, I think he feels like he can get to that level, probably even more than that, and it's going to be exciting to see what they can do. But no problems at all. Can't wait to see him out there. Hopefully, he's able to ball out this season, and then we could probably see him for 3 or 4 plus years after that.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, Clint. Only thing I had to refute about what you said is if he could sign for more money, I think he would have. I think he signed for what he took from the Chiefs because he had to take it. I don't think he wanted to get a 1 year deal. I don't think that's never how he planned on his free agency market going. But I think this was kind of just him kind of getting a setback to reality, like what's really going on, how the league's really views you. So I think this is gonna be his chance to separate himself. I don't know if this guy gets a Juju contract if he can do some really crazy stuff. Just because how people value speed, and how they value guys that can really change the offense. So if Hollywood can come and still tap into his full potential, I think he can. I think he'll be able to figure out a way to make some more money on the back end. But I think he had to take the 1 year deal. I don't think he had any more offers knocking at that door in free agency.
Yeah, that's true, Lonnie. I mean, why would you take something if you can possibly get more anywhere else? But at the same time, he could be looking at it as well too. If you compare yourself to Juju, and I know I'm gonna be healthy, I take that 7 million that's guaranteed and get up to 11 million if I meet my incentives. And guess what the Chiefs did as well too? Because Juju had a great season that year, he didn't do everything, but he did meet his game amount. They end up still giving him all that money because guess what? They had a great year. They was feeling good. And if you're able to contribute to the offense, I mean, we got you. If you was the reason why we got there and we had a big game in the Super Bowl, we got you. So I think he was looking at it like, hey, I take that 11 mil that's more than likely guaranteed because I know I'm gonna be prepared for it. I'm ready to go. And then next season we can talk. And then guess what? It's not no bad blood as well either because it's not like you're someone who started with us from the ground up. You had you had your ways around the league, and then when we put it out there as well too, I mean, what was he gonna get? Only getting 574 yards. I mean, we could compare him to MVS. MVS, I'm be honest, he just got the better of us. We was thirsty that year for wide receivers. Just being honest, we were just looking for some type of replacement for Tyreek Hill. So we were just throwing money at different receivers to put in and fill in that spot, and it worked. And it worked. But 574 yards and your best season was 1,008 yards in your third year in the league. So honestly, when you look at it like that, it's like, is this your ceiling? Because if your ceiling is 1,008 yards and the top dogs are getting 15, 1,700 plus, Justin Jefferson's of the world almost getting 2,000, you're not getting that.
Well, and that's what I don't think it. I don't think that's his ceiling at all. I think this is not the same to the likes of the MVS signing, and they signed MVS for way longer and gave him way more money. So I think this is just more of them saying we're scared. We got burnt here too on the backside of that deal. So we're not doing any more deals like that with wide receivers that we think have potential. We'll rather just pay you that 1 year deal like we can Hollywood Brown. Find the ones that we can get on cheap deals because we know we're not in the company of paying people and making them long-term big assets as a part of this team if you're not Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, or Patrick Mahomes. Just period. So I think that this is just a microcosm of everything that we have seen with the Chiefs over these past couple of years, to the likes of losing Tyreek Hill, to the likes of the MVS deal not working out. And luckily, Hollywood Brown is coming off of not his best season, some injury riddled seasons, and he's at a cheap price point that they can get him for. But I think this is a guy that his potential supersedes what Mr. Marquez Valdez-Scantling had. We didn't know Mr. Marquez Valdez-Scantling until he played with Aaron Rodgers. So Marquise Hollywood Brown was a star at Oklahoma University, so playing alongside CeeDee Lamb. So I think this is a guy that has the absolute ability to tap into some potential and get paid on the backside of it significantly. Really, just that's really all I can say.
I think we all have high hopes for Hollywood Brown, and we are definitely hoping the best for him and hoping that he has, a successful season. I think we all made some fair points, and I think we all want him to succeed and have a great year and hopefully be with us for years to come. So, but that's all we have for this episode of Gridiron Gambit. We'd like to thank everyone for watching this episode and enjoying and watching along and having a good time. Make sure you like this video and also comment on it as well too. That way we can interact with you and just go back and forth about what we talk about within the Chiefs kingdom. So hope everyone have the great rest of their evening or morning if they watch it at that time, and we'll talk to you on the next episode. And don't forget, as always, go Chiefs.
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs, Red Kingdom Media.